Greetings, lovely people. It is everyone's favorite, most dangerous duo on the podcast game, SOS Wrestling Network, back at y'all once again for some G1 Climax 30 coverage. We have night one and night two for you. If you know me, if you don't know me, if you do know me, you already know what this voice is. If you don't know me, it's your boy Stardust Shiaku, Blunt Cianito, aka the Pure Wrestle Fly God, joined here by my illustrious tag team partner, the book junkie herself, the intellectual juggernaut, the exalted one, my hell, it's a damn good friend. Jay, how are you?
Oh, after an introduction like that, how could I be anything other than awesome? And I'll tell you what, people were all about Block A on these opening nights of G130, but Block B is owed an apology because they were every bit as good, if not possibly outshining them a little bit, and we get to talk about that.
Absolutely. So they're still sticking with the structure that the New Japan cards have had lately, to where they'll have about 6 matches. The first match usually will be a, hate to say undercard, but it's kind of a undercard before we get into tournament action. That's how it's normally been, and it's pretty much what's going to happen here on out. So I don't mind it. We don't, like you said, we don't get any tag matches that we've had in years past. Some people may be like that. Me, I'm kind of like, I'm hit or miss on it because I do like the structure of the shows, but then again, I do miss the interactions of the people who want to wrestle like the next night. I always love that little, ooh, okay, we wrestle the next night. I kind of always like that little stuff, you know?
Yeah, and that was a very appealing part, was you got just these little tastes, these little previews of what was to come. And so when they announced they were not going to be doing that because they were trying to minimize the number of people in any given location for a show, logically I understood it, but the fan part of me was going, oh, okay. But now that we've had two shows, this particular organization is actually pretty good. We've got an opening singles match between two of the three young lions that they have available, and that's going to be the thing all the way through. They're finally getting their singles matches. They don't have a Young Lions Cup at this point, but they do get one-on-one matches against each other. So that part is pretty cool. And then they've got the 5 tournament matches. So you have a show that's over in a little bit over 2 hours, like 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I'm not going to lie, that is super convenient. And I think that a lot of us who cover the entire G1, every single show, every single match on every single show, are going to have a whole lot less of that notorious G1 burnout by the time we get to the finals.
I agree with that. And bringing up the Young Lions is actually a really good segue, because we have taken on, opening this first night of G1 action, we have Yui Yamura actually taking on Yota Tsuji right here. So this is actually going to be the first of 18 Young Lions singles matches we're going to get on this tour. And it's going to be the first of 6 bouts between Yota Tsuji and Yui Yamura right here. So like you were saying, usually the multi-man matches are a fine way to set up a story between the G1 matches. There, like you said, there's some people who are not complaining about it, and actually the condensing of the card, I think we both are fans of right here. So these two guys, they had a really solid opening match right here, which if you're a fan of these guys, if you've seen any of them before, it shouldn't really come to a big shock to you. So yeah, you should already know that. The Young Lions here in New Japan are so good fundamentally and are really sound. It's next to impossible, in my opinion, for them to have a good match. It's always going to be a nice, solid encounter when they get in the ring with each other. So we got some nice back and forth action in the closing moments before Yamura was able to get the win, forcing Tsuji to tap out to a high angle Boston Crab, also known as the Lion Tamer right here. I was a little bit surprised to see him tap Tsuji out here, Jay. It was a very solid opening match. Like I said, these guys are very fundamentally sound, so it's going to be hard for the guys to not have a good match. So I thought this was a nice opening encounter.
Oh, it absolutely was. And again, for people who may not have been following the history of Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura, these two have traded victories back and forth so many times. You know, they went to a ridiculous number of 10-minute time limit draws. One of them would get a win here. The next night, the other one would get the win here. So they have had the most frustratingly even record against one another. And so anytime they face each other in a singles match, both of them really feel like they have a lot to prove, because no matter what they do, the other one catches up with them. And the thing that's going to stand out here is kind of twofold. First, Yoda Suji, sweetie, what were you thinking? Why did you shave off all your facial hair? Oh boy, he looks like a totally different person. And I mean, I remember what he looked like before he grew out his hair and grew the facial hair. And yeah, he had a decent look going on. The joke was that, he was training at the Tanahashi School of Dreamboat, and now he's not quite doing that. If anything, he seems to be channeling a previously unknown admiration for Muhammad Yone from Pro Wrestling Noah, because like he's not even wetting down his hair or putting any kind of styling product in it. He's just got this completely wild hair and clean shaven face, and he walked out, and I know I'm not the only one going, "Oh, Suji, what?" And yeah, I know that there are people who like it, but I'm not feeling this look for him. I don't know if he lost a bet. I don't know what's going on, but I don't think this works for him nearly as well as what he had going on before. The other thing about this match is that I think I speak for a lot of people, because I saw that I was not the only one who tweeted it. When it happened, I remembered I tweeted out, "Hold up, did Uyemura just bust out a freaking lion tamer?" And like 5 other people are like, "Yes, he did." And people were just all over that, because, you know, a Boston Crab may be a Boston Crab, but that was a lion tamer, and it just looked so mean. I mean, when you're kneeling down on the back of somebody's head and you're torquing them sideways, basically Yuya Uemura continues to demonstrate why he is one of Katsuyori Shibata's favorite picks for the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that faith is apparently very well placed. When Shibata was asked, "Who are you really impressed with?" the 2 names he gave out were Ren Narita and Yuya Uemura. Those are his 2 guys. So that says a lot when Shibata has picked you out as somebody to watch.
It's high praise, extremely high praise, if you ask me. A guy like Shibata putting this stamp of approval on you is a big fucking deal, if you ask me. So shout out to Yoda Suji. He didn't get it done here. Hopefully he'll get that facial hair back in the coming weeks, months. We can get that situation taken care of, because yeah, it's much needed. It is what it is, man. Like you said, I don't know if he lost a bet. I don't know what it was, but yeah, let's just not do that again. Oh no, baby, what was you doing? Please, let's not do it ever.
I saw that you posted that. I was like, that is the perfect reaction to this.
And like seeing stuff like this, because when we get up and watch New Japan, like everyone else here that's on the western side of the world, it's pretty much in the AM. So any new appearance change that these guys will have that we maybe didn't see is like, oh, okay. And not only am I tired and sleepy, but you just brought this look upon me right now, and I was not ready for all of this. So of course we're going to have like these a bit of reactions right here, and I think a bit of that reactionary, I guess a bit of that reaction or adverse reaction, if you will, kind of takes place in the second match as well, Jay. So the second match, we have our opening G1 Climax action for Block A. We have the returning Will Ospreay. He's actually the current Rev Pro British Heavyweight Champion. Totally forgot that he was even a champion. And we have the more heralded person on this podcast. We actually will, cheer and give much praise to, the Tokyo Pimp himself, Yujiro Takahashi, right here, which this was not bad. Ospreay got the victory in 7 minutes and 34 seconds with the Stormbreaker, which I feel that was much to be expected that he was going to get the victory. And I don't think people expected this to be as good as it was, because in my honest opinion, this was pretty damn good right here. I don't know if people are just sleeping on Yujiro. They just don't really, I don't want to say don't put much stock in Yujiro, but yeah, Yujiro showed his ass right here, and he had a really good showing. Milano Collection AT and Jushin Thunder Liger were very excited to see Will Ospreay. I'm glad some people were, so that's pretty good for him, I guess. I think one of the things that helped this match out a lot, and I'm glad this had none of this, was there were no Bullet Club shenanigans here. There were no Jado, no kendo stick, no referee bumps, nothing. Ospreay just came out here. Ospreay and Yujiro just came out here and wrestled a pretty clean match, and Yujiro kept it clean himself. So that was actually a nice, pleasant surprise right here in the really solid contest, if you ask me. So got it, got the hidden blade. Then he got the Stormbreaker, like I said. Really solid match right here. I thought Yujiro had a really good match with Will Ospreay. So shout out to Yujiro. Then Ospreay takes the mic, Jay, and I will give you the mic. So yeah.
I should have the mic instead of him, but that's another story altogether. Anyway, uh, poor Yujiro getting back in the G1 for the first time in what, 5 years? Something
5 years.
like that. And he doesn't have Peter with him. That is so sad. I mean, she would be missed anyway, but the fact that a moment like this does not involve her, and we all know why. I mean, she's posted about how she's not doing stuff until it's safe for everybody to be out, and that's more than fair. But you just feel like something's missing, because for the first time in that long, he's actually in the G1 and she's not escorting him to the ring and all that. Basically, Yujiro would have won if Peter was here, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
And so, yeah, I think that a lot of people were surprised at how well Yujiro held up his end of the match, because to be honest about it, I think he gets completely written off by a lot of people as something you can skip, that he's a multi-man tag guy at best, and all those matches with Okada didn't do him any favors. But here's the thing. I've said before, and I don't even consider it a hot take or an unpopular opinion, not being able to have a good match with Okada doesn't really mean anything. If you can't have a good match with Hiroshi Tanahashi, that means a great deal. And Okada's just a lousy opponent for some people, and Yujiro is not the only one. So the fact that this match really was more than a slightly glorified squash, and that he again held up his end of the deal, I think surprised a lot of people, and it really shouldn't have. Every now and then Yujiro can bring it. I know we're still talking about that one match he had with Juice Robinson several years ago, and yes, that's kind of sad, but he's not without talent as a wrestler, and I think part of the problem was that he had just this never-ending series of matches against Okada, who was not a good opponent for him. But he pulled it together here, and I am not going to be surprised if Yujiro has several more low-key good matches coming out of this.
I'm not going to disagree. I think it's definitely going to happen. So, Yujiro Takahashi, thank God you win the G1 Climax 30, because we missed you, bro. We definitely didn't miss you here in this tournament setting. And the platinum blonde here, we can talk about that later. But hey, still love you, Yujiro. It is what it is. So, our next G1 action, we have the one half of the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the Holy Emperor himself, Taichi, actually taking on a man he had not really an extensive history, but it's kind of a short, almost bully-esque history with the one Jeff Cobb here. He's always calling Jeff Cobb fat. He's always and I don't know if you saw the post-match comments. I know you did, but I'm not trying to skip too much ahead. But man, Taichi's fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. He really, his humor is he has really, really good humor right here. So get back to this match. If you were to say this was the second best match overall of the night, I would not disagree with you right here, because I do think that every time Cobb and Taichi actually get in the ring, I feel their matches get better. So I think this is a little bit of that right here. We had a little bit of shenanigans early. Taichi used the bell hammer on Cobb's knee. So, but that did help sell that, set up the future stuff that would happen in the match with Taichi working over Jeff Cobb's knee. So I can kind of forgive that a little bit. Jeff Cobb, after, he was able to get his knee worked over, he made his comeback a little bit. He looked pretty strong in the last half of the match. It was nice back and forth. So they busted out a lot of the signature moves here. And Taichi was able to avoid the Tour of the Islands on multiple occasions. And he wasn't able to initially lift up Jeff Cobb on the Black Mephisto, and then he actually connected after some super kicks. So I thought that was a nice touch right here. So he gets Taichi securing the victory in a very good outing from both of these guys right here. I know people might have their respective concerns on maybe both of these guys being in this tournament, for good or for worse, for better or for worse. But I feel this match and the future matches they're about to have some strong performances coming up. So Taichi gets the victory with Black Mephisto right here, and a match I don't think disappointed.
Oh no, it didn't disappoint at all. If anything, it exceeded expectations because while I have enjoyed Jeff Cobb tremendously in a number of different wrestling situations, his last G1 was rather lackluster. I don't like saying that, but it kind of was. And from the moment he walked out, you could tell this was different. The energy surrounding him was just completely different. He looked amazing. He's leaned up somewhat. He looks like he's just a mountain troll carved out of stone. He's got longer hair and a more pronounced, facial hair thing going on. I saw somebody on Twitter refer to him as Mantanza style, the match that
Yeah.
he had here, and that's very fair. I think that's true. And if that's what we're getting out of Jeff Cobb now, sign me up. I am all in favor of that. And I think I had picked Taichi to win this match, but it was one that it could go either way, and I would not have been upset about it. I think you're exactly right that every match they have with each other is a little bit better than the last one. I think this is the best match that they've had against each other throughout. But yeah, Taichi's backstage comments just kill me. I mean, don't watch Taichi's backstage comments while you're drinking anything. You will spit it out all over your monitor. And in this particular case, he goes about kind of backhanded complimenting Jeff Cobb that, first he's talking about, oh, he's just so fat. And, you're just like, damn, Taichi, stop it. And, then he goes on to say that, well, that's really not fair. I shouldn't call him Jeff Hogg. He's a worthy opponent. And, he says, a couple of other nice things about him. And then, da-da-da-da-da, Jeff Hogg, Cobb. You're just like, he's not stopping. And then, Taichi's next match is against Minoru Suzuki, and he goes on to say, if you're gonna kill me, just do it. Like, I know this is a weird story thing, but I'm just very curious what happens when Minoru Suzuki keeps issuing, violent death threats to somebody who basically doesn't care if they die,
Right.
because Taichi's like, if you're gonna do it, just do it already. He's got the whole, angsty emo teenager thing going on. It's like, if you're gonna kill me, just do it.
I like how he's
Whatever.
also like when he's saying he's also like, if you can kill me, just do it. If you can.
Yeah, that if you can gets said over and over again, and I am very intrigued about where all of that is gonna go. And speaking of Murder Grandpa,
Oh, nice segue, Jay. Tell them what we got. Tell the contestants what they've won.
oh, the contestants have won one of the best matches so far on either night, and that is Tomohiro Ishii versus current never openweight champion Murder Dad Minoru Suzuki. And you knew exactly what this was going to be before you saw it, and you were absolutely right. This went 13 minutes, and man, this is one of those matches where you've got to watch it with the volume up because the sound alone of these two men just slapping and punching and throwing forearms that are stiff as hell at each other. Like, the next day, I think I still felt sore from watching this match. And, it was everything you could have wanted out of these two and then some. Suzuki gets the win with the Gotch-style pile driver, but there were several moments where you were convinced that Ishii had this. And this honestly was one of those matches that was so even back and forth that, you know, until that last successful gotch at the end, you really had no idea which way it was going to go. And this was one of those matches that everybody was talking about the next day. And for a lot of people, it was, okay, if you don't see anything else, start here. I don't agree with that, but I see why they said it. Fantastic match, just great.
No argument for me. So we all know the main event had a lot of hype coming into the show. Of course it should. It was one of the main events at the Tokyo Dome shows. Should have all the hype. I was looking forward to this match maybe a little bit more than that match. I don't know if it's probably I enjoy these guys work a little bit more than the two guys that's in the main event. Maybe it is that, but it is what it is. It's awesome to see Suzuki in the G1 in this capacity. And I couldn't think a better way for him to start the G1 with the match with a match than with the Stone Pitbull right here. So I know there was some because he wasn't in G1 last year. We got to talk about that. He wasn't even in G1 last year.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is that Suzuki was not in the G1. He was super pissed about it, and apparently the rest of the wrestling world was, weighing in. And then at the very end of things, that's when we got Moxley versus Suzuki. And, that moment pretty much made everything worthwhile. So he was not in it, but it was for the greater good.
I almost forgot that he really wasn't in it, right? Last year, because we rarely even hear about that now that he was not in G1. So couldn't think of a better way for him to return to the G1 Climax than having a bout with Ishii. We already knew they was gonna beat the shit out of each. Guess what? That's exactly what they did here. Awesome match from start to finish. Easily the best bout on this entire show. Might as well call him. I mean, I was calling this while I was watching the match. I was like, man, for a lot of people calling themselves the best bout machine, damn, Tomohiro Ishii's kind of had that title for a long time. So best bout machine, Tomohiro Ishii right here, comes through in the clutch once again, having an amazing match with Suzuki. That little ending sequence when Suzuki rolled through the vertical drop brainbuster, but then spun him around for the gotch style was just so seamless. It was perfect. This match was like this match was like wine. It was just it was a masterpiece right here. Definitely take time out of your day. If you're watching G1, the N1 Victory Tournament Champions Carnival, if you're watching all of that and you're like, hey man, a lot of matches going on, definitely take your time out of your day to watch this match, because as far as G1 goes, I know it's only the first night, but match of the tournament so far.
Well, and I think people forget, because so many of his matches don't really illustrate it. People forget how smooth Minoru Suzuki can be in that ring. Everything is not, snapping your arm off against the barricade and, laughing maniacally as they shove you into the ring post or whatever. I mean, the stuff he can do is just beautiful to watch. And we don't see it very often as of late, but when you see it, oh my God, that man is so good at what he does.
Both of them are just excellent. They're excellent pro wrestlers, some of the greatest pro wrestlers to ever walk this earth. And speaking of the tag, best pro wrestler to walk the earth, the best pro wrestler currently right now, Jay, if you could do me the honors of bringing up the penultimate match we had on this show.
Oh boy, this one was the one that I was probably looking forward to the most. And I say that, before I actually watched them. No disrespect to the match that just happened, but Shingo Takagi versus Jay White was incredibly intriguing to me, just because I was imagining, okay, we've got, intense, loud, hot-headed Shingo against, cold, calculating Jay White. And, Jay's been completely out of the picture for at least the past 6 months. So there was a lot of question, not just for him, but all of the people who came back for the G1. We were all wondering what kind of shape they were going to be in as far as the wrestling matches go. And yeah, I'm probably going to be in the minority here based on what I have seen, but I loved this match. I thought that Jay versus Shingo was just fantastic. And the more I thought about it, the more the Bullet Club shenanigans are okay with me. And I'll tell you why. So you have Jay and Shingo doing counters and reversals of everything. And Jay is basically proving that he can't take a hit very well. Like Shingo just throws a punch and Jay crumples to the mat. Like if you can catch him, you can hurt him. But he knows that, and that's why he's going to do everything in his power not to get hit in the first place, which is not a bad thought process, really. So most of it was a legit, clean Jay versus Shingo match. You had Gedo getting involved a couple of places toward the end. Shingo grabbing Gedo by the beard and being all threatening and stuff. If that doesn't make you laugh, I don't know what will. Shingo has also, he's not completely clean shaven, but he's lost some of the facial hair. And we were even talking about, is Jay White basically absorbing the facial hair of other wrestlers now? Is that where Suji's facial hair went? Jay's beard looks so trash. And it's not even like he and Gedo are doing the same thing, because Gedo has trimmed up a lot of his beard, and Jay's trolling us. He's got to be trolling us. He's doing it on purpose because he knows it's horrible. And I'm convinced that that's the thing. So, they're going back and forth. And there were a couple of points where Jay does the thing that I know some people hate, but in moderation, I enjoy it. And that's when somebody's coming at him with a move and he just drops to the mat so they can't hit him. And the one time, he's just laughing at Shingo while he does it, making no pretense of what is going on. Shingo just kind of shrugs, runs to the other rope. Jay's turning around on the mat, and Shingo hits him with a sliding lariat, and just like, okay, I can play this game too. And so, countering a Blade Runner attempt into, Last of the Dragon, and this was such a good match. And yes, in 19 minutes and a half, Jay gets the win with the Blade Runner, and there was, Gedo interference and ref bump and that kind of thing. But there was a lot less interference than there usually is. And the ref bump actually kind of made sense because Shingo had Jay up on his shoulders and Jay is kicking and thrashing and trying to get out. He kicked Red Shoes in the face. So it wasn't like the usual thing of, oh, let me sneeze on you and you're going to be unconscious on the floor for 3 minutes. You watch that and, okay, yeah, that did make sense. But I was cool with this for a couple of reasons. First of all, losing to Jay White is not going to damage Shingo. I mean, Shingo has done so much awesome stuff that, I really don't think losing his first J1 match to somebody who has been on the level that Jay White has been is at all going to make Shingo look bad. If anything, he's got more motivation now. Shingo was being snarky in his backstage comments because one of the things that Jay White was saying is that it's not the G1, it's the J1. And in Shingo's backstage comments, no, it wasn't backstage comments, it was Twitter. He tweeted this out. Shingo goes, what is J1? Is that Japan #1? Is that what you're saying?
I saw
okay,
that.
cool. Just Shingo is snarky in his own dragon way. Um, so there's that. The second thing is, like everybody else who is returning, Jay had to win this because they've got to remind everybody that he is a legitimate, credible threat to the top of the card. And beating an absolute beast like Shingo goes a long way to doing that. So, they had to remind people, this is not just a name, this is somebody who held our top title, and even if you can't stand him, be aware that he could do it again. And then the last thing was about the interference and just the way they went about it. It's been pretty well established that Evil needs that Bullet Club interference from Dick Togo because he can't win by himself. Jay White totally can win by himself. He just likes to have that interference there. It's a game for him. It's something to play with. He could win the match, and you could even see almost the little wheels turning in his little Kiwi head that, I could, do this match cleanly, but nah, screw that. This is fun. So I don't mind it when it's presented like he doesn't need to have it. I think that's part of why it got kind of annoying to some people with Evil, is because it was really obvious that he needed it. He could not win without it.
Yeah, it's getting more obvious now as the G1 goes on, which we'll talk about here pretty soon as far as the Evil side and B block. But no, I thought this was a really good match for most of the 20 minutes that would happen. And the interference that took place, this is textbook Jay White, excuse me. I really like this match right here. Uh, I want to see what happens as far as the fallout because, like you said, post match, Shingo Takagi was like, "This isn't over. Bullet Club. You know what? If I got to take all y'all down myself, I mean, I'll do it. I don't care." So I'm interested to see where that goes right here. We got Jay White. He hit a brutal looking Regal Plex, and I think that's something I don't really remember him doing that. I mean, maybe he did, but I just don't remember him having that in his arsenal. So if he didn't have that in his arsenal, and that's a nice little wrinkle to add to give people something to think about now here in the future as a new win. So hit him with the people call the arm trap brainbuster on the commentary. If you hear him, it was actually the Bloody Sunday Blade Runner for the win. I thought this match was really good. I thought it maybe fell a little bit below their last year's match in the G1, which it's not a negative mark to have. I thought it was a really solid match, and I just thought this was a textbook Jay White match. He has a theme of his matches to what he likes to do, and it's very meticulous. And I just got to respect Jay White because, like I say, and I say many times, best heel in pro wrestling, and he's going to get that heel work. And he's got a lot of, I don't want to say fight, he's got a lot of stuff to work with in his A block as far as his heel work. Because as you were saying, how he's like laughing at Shingo Takagi earlier, I'm like, I wonder how's this match with Yujiro Takahashi going to go? I'm just like, I wonder how's this match with one Taichi going to go? Because Taichi's still better from the match they had from last year. He was like, nah, Jay White, this isn't. So there's a lot of people in this block to where you're like, okay, how are they going to interact with Jay White right here? Hell, you still got Ibushi and Nakata, who's always got that man in the back of their mind. So I thought this was a nice showing from both guys right here. And like you said, a loss to Jay White does not damage Shingo Takagi. If anything, a win by Jay White on Shingo Takagi actually elevates him because in the eyes of Japanese fans, he's been gone for a while. You get a big victory over a guy like that who was never openweight champion for a pretty decent reign. So that just does nothing but just elevate Jay White in my eyes and my stock. So that's just what it is. Jay White. What's up, y'all? Jay White, elevating himself. What am I talking about? Jay White's elevating himself. That's what with this victory. So that's what I'm saying. He's elevating himself. So no, I thought this was a solid penultimate match right here. And it leads us into, Jay, the final match of night one. And I know it's a sad thing to talk about. Night one is coming to a close, guys. We are all crying right now. It is what it is. But we have the Block A main event tonight. We have Kota Golden Star Ibushi taking on the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada. And Jay, my great friend, my sister from another mister, I'm gonna tell you, this is how I really feel. It speaks to the incredibly high standard of the G1 Climax that a pretty good or damn near great match between Kazuchika Okada and Kota Ibushi could be considered a disappointment. That's pretty much what we're living in right now because there was no question in my mind that the expectations for this upcoming bout were extraordinarily high. especially after these two had what was arguably one of the best matches of the year, maybe even the best match of the year in some people's eyes in the January 4th Tokyo Dome show. I can totally understand people being disappointed by how this rematch turned out. And I kind of would agree maybe it could have been a little bit better. But with me even saying that, this was still a really great match. And on their best day, Okada and Ibushi can definitely have a match of year caliber bout like we saw in January. So there are also such performers, in my opinion, that when they have even their worst match, in my opinion, is still an awesome match when they wrestle. So we did get two moments where they looked a tad shaky here. Ibushi, he kind of lost his balance on the top rope with that springboard hurricanrana. But other than that, this was standard excellent wrestling from start to finish right here. So exactly what you would expect from these two. But I think though, what I think what the thing is just expectations, Jay, were so high, and what we had seen from early in the night, it is I think what it was, and this is me, I don't know if it was the matches that we saw and this little new wrinkle that Okada's added, because I've been talking about new wrinkles and everything like that. But it was something that stuck out to me. It was the use of Okada's money clip. And I think his money clip finisher, submission, whatever you want to call it, this is my opinion now. It's starting to slow these matches down and kind of take me out of an Okada finish because I'm expecting, I hate to even say it, multiple Rainmakers, or one of my favorite moves he does, the reverse Rainmaker, because when I see that, I'm like, okay, it's big time now when you see a reverse Rainmaker. And it just didn't have that. I think that's what this match was missing right here. And Kota Ibushi beats him emphatically. He beats him with one Kamigoye right here. Pretty reminiscent to when Okada beat Tanahashi back in Dontaku 2018 with this one Rainmaker. I was like, wow, he just beat him with one Kamigoye. I was like, that's interesting. I thought this was a really good to damn near great match, but that's the thing with Okada. I feel he was kind of mailing it in right here, and it's weird to say mailing it in because these guys are in a 10 match long tournament over this numerous weeks. So to say mailing it in, I think you're just kind of conserve your body and be safe, which is totally fair. But even though this match was probably one of their worst matches, it was still a damn good match in my eyes, which is the ironic thing about that. So I didn't think it probably was their worst effort that I've seen, including the Tiger Mask W stuff, but it was still a damn good match. So Jay, what do you think?
I think several of the points you made are spot on. I have never been crazy about Okada's use of the money clip. I do think that it slows things down, and I don't find it particularly well applied. If you're gonna do a submission, you need to actually know how to do it and make it look good, and his just does not do that for me. Kota Ibushi did not come to play. If you watched him once both of them were in the ring, but before the actual action started, Ibushi had a look of absolute steel in his eyes, and his jaw was super tight. Like, I'm not messing with you. I don't care what happened before. I am here to win, and that is all. And then he goes on and does that. And contrast that with Okada, and I know some people will say, but he's always like this. I really feel like it came across that Okada's arrogance cost him the match because he seemed to have the idea that, oh, well, I beat you before. I'm going to do it again. It's not a big deal. And the fact that he seemed more like he was phoning it in than Ibushi was really stood out. And I have already seen quite a few arguments back and forth that it's the angle, it's the story that Okada's phoning it in, and this and that, and that's the point, that's the story, and then other people who do not care for that are arguing that, well, that should never be true in the first place, but you're just covering for the fact that this guy you like has gotten sloppy and lazy. And I don't know if either one of those things are true, but I'll tell you this. I am kind of interested if what we're seeing before us now with Kota Ibushi and Okada isn't kind of a version of what we saw several years ago with Okada and Tanahashi, but now Okada's in the other role.
Mm.
That Okada has been, regardless of what people call him, Okada's been established as the ace of New Japan for years. Tanahashi is called the ace out of affection and respect, but nobody considers him the ace of the company over Okada. Okada's position has never really been threatened in that respect. And yes, I'm leaving Tetsuya Naito out of this conversation for the moment, but the idea that somebody can step up and you know, take all of that and replace him, that conversation has never been had. And Kota Ibushi is exactly the kind of person who could do that. So I'm wondering if we're not going to see Okada basically being challenged not for his title, but for his role in the company. And Ibushi is going to take it from him if he doesn't get his shit together and start, bringing it in the ring more than we saw in this match, because that idea is very intriguing.
Shit, 100%. You heard my tag team partner right there, waxing pro wrestling poetic like we do so goddamn well right there, talking about the main event. And yeah, it was good, but it's if you're a good wrestler, you should, at this point, I guess you should, especially in the G1 Climax setting, you probably should aspire to, I don't know, a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, I feel like I'm a judge at like a table in one of those little reality TV shows, and Okada's on the stage. You know what I mean? I'm just telling them like, hey, I'm just like, hey, yeah, man, last time you brought it, last week the judges, we was all impressed, but now it's just like you can make it through. You just make it through on your sheer talent, but we still looking at you. We got our eye on you. You know what I mean? And not in a good way. But
And
no.
I'll tell you what, I think my favorite, the sickest burn on Okada that I saw on Twitter about this whole, you know, he's a bad wrestler now, but it's just a gimmick thing. Somebody actually tweeted, Eva Marie did Okada's gimmick better than he is.
Mm,
It was just like,
God,
oh my God. Oh, okay.
God damn. Does he need some? Does he need some Neosporin for that burn? Shit. Woo. My God, man. But that brings a close to night one. Night one, in my opinion, I think Jay, we can agree this was an exciting show from start to finish. The Young Lion opener was entertaining as always, while all five block matches, A block that is, ranged from good to very good to freaking great. We know the format with only six matches and no undercard tags. We talked about that earlier, of course, that where maybe the condensing of the show and just kind of cutting things down just makes us go by a little faster, and that's all to the good. So, and it makes it for a very easy watch, like we said. And money on Ishii versus Suzuki, easily the best bout of the show. We'll see how far that goes, if it'll be the best bout of the tournament. Other people got a lot, their work cut out for them if they want to try to top that. And I know some guys will definitely try to top that, and we might be talking about a match that did top that here very shortly. It is definitely the difference on your opinions, but no, we had some good stuff with Cobb and Taichi. Shingo and White was really, really good. Osprey and Yujiro was a nice little surprise. So night one, I thought was a success. Built up on the G1 Climax name, and it just sends us off to night two, Jay. And I actually enjoyed night one.
I thought night one was really, really entertaining, and there was not a whole lot to drag it down. There wasn't anything to go, ugh, okay. So, you know, Block A set the bar. And if you remember when the brackets and the cards came out, there was quite a lot of talk that, oh, Block A is the good block. It's the superstar block. Block B is, the not as good as the other one block. They swap it around every couple of years, but a lot of times there's the one really strong block and then the other block is less so. And B Block seemed to garner that reputation, at least on the social media. And then we got night one of B Block action.
Yeah, B Block was not to be outdone by what A Block did the night before. And to your opinion, was it to the caliber of, or hell, it might even been even better in some people's eyes. And we'll go ahead and talk about that shit right freaking now, as I censor myself like I'm some like school student or something. I don't know. Uh, New Japan. pro wrestling. We start night two. Started this morning. Your boy had a very, very early, late night, early morning because right after UFC, guess what was on? Ding, ding, ding. G1 Climax B Black night one. So first match we had Yota Tsuji taking on Gabriel Kidd. They opened the show with a tough young lion battle, and I was actually happy to see Yota Tsuji get the win right here. He got his record to 500 right here following the loss to Yuya Yamura. Looks like Gabriel Kidd will be facing Yuri Yamura on the next show on September 23rd. So we got more young lion action. And you know what? Damn it, I'm intrigued to see the round robin between these young lions on these G1 Climax shows, Jay.
As am I, and this particular match was a while in coming because if you had paid attention to the backstage comments, Yota Tsuji had been instigating quite a bit against Gabriel Kidd. Yota Tsuji was talking some trash. Like, Gabe, hey, Gabe, where's the rest of the LA Dojo boys? How come they didn't bother to show up? And yeah, you've had from the beginning this LA Dojo versus Japan Dojo rivalry. You always had that, and then our boy Carl Fredericks won the last Young Lions Cup that they had, and that left the New Japan Young Lions feeling a little bit ashamed of themselves. So there's been this back and forth between the two dojos. Every now and then it heats up, and then they'll settle down and get along again. But things got pretty heated backstage, and so these two have had several issues going on. So watching them take care of it in the ring, and then the stuff that came after that, all of that worked in together pretty well. Yeah, I agree that Tsuji getting the win here after losing to Uyemura the night before was nice to see. This match went longer. It was like 9 minutes and 15 seconds, whereas the match on night one was like 7 minutes ish. So they got to go a while longer. And the thing about Gabriel Kidd that people really need to remember is that he is basically in the same position that Juice Robinson was in. He was already trained as a wrestler. He was already making a name for himself elsewhere. And he decided, you know what? I want to hit that reboot button. I want to start all over and train from the ground up in the New Japan Dojo if they will have me. And they did, and he did. And now here we are. So Gabriel Kidd has to carry the added burden of not disappointing Katsuyori Shibata, which has to be terrifying no matter what. Right. And so watching him and Tsuji go at it, I thought was really, really good. Yeah, I love Tsuji's, football shoulder tackle because he does it like he's playing football. You have people, shoulder tackle, da-da-da-da-da. But Tsuji's one of the only people who does it like he's on a football field, because in case you didn't catch, he played American football when he was a university student. And so he knows how that's supposed to go. And it was really rather heartwarming that in the backstage comments that followed this match, Tsuji basically apologized to Gabriel Kidd for being a dick. And he said that, yeah, I reacted immaturely. I, blamed Gabe for stuff that is in no way under his control. It's not his fault if nobody else could travel here. I apologize. We need to, act right and stuff. So, good on Tsuji for that.
Yeah, he said it after he won. I mean,
yeah, well, he did. I mean, he didn't say it at the ring. He said it backstage after he won. If he hadn't won, we might not have heard it. But he said it. I'll give credit where it's due.
He's like, "Hey, man, you want to say? I just want to tell you I was wrong, man. You know what I mean? It is just like I could have seen this talking real somber. Just hey, look, I was wrong about that. It was my bad, man. I went off kilter. It is what it is. But no, I like that Yota Tsuji did that. Big Yota Tsuji fan. We're a big Yota Tsuji channel over here. Yota Tsuji channel. subscription thing, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever we are big Yoda Suji, excuse me, entity fans over here. So just whatever. You know what I mean? So next we get our first G1 Climax Block B action of the night. We have the returning Juice Robinson, and my man Juice Robinson here, he's actually taking on a champion in his own right. Juice Robinson is a former IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, as long as a former tag team champion, heavyweight variety, of course, taking on 1/3 of the Never Trios champions right here, Yoshihashi, and we get Juice Robinson with a very interesting look. And he has, what is it, a white singlet and black tights, but his entrance gear to me, Jay, was akin to somebody seeing Blues Brothers for the first time. I didn't want to see what you thought. Like, I was like, oh, he must have just watched Blues Brothers. And it's like, okay, this is my entrance gear now.
That is exactly what I thought, and I'm not the only one because Chris Charlton tweeted about that. He said that Juice Robinson was a lot more than 60 miles from Chicago, but he had a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. Yeah, it's windy and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. So, yeah, a lot of Blues Brothers references for Juice Robinson. I don't know if he intended that or not, but yeah, it's kind of funny that somebody who is billed as the flamboyant, this is the most subdued outfit he has ever had.
It really is. Almost back to damn near his Young Lion days when he just had the trunks, you know? It's almost like, okay, Juice Robinson is back to his young liondom. And this match right here went about, what, little under 16 minutes. We get Juice picking up the pinfall, which is almost like a reoccurring theme with returning wrestlers right here, getting the victories, kind of getting them more familiar with the audiences that maybe have missed them over the last few months. He defeats the 1/3 champion Yoshihashi right here with the Pulse Princeton. And my thing is, this match was okay. It wasn't bad. Definitely not either man's best performance, and it was interesting. It was a very interesting match. It wasn't a bad match, but it was not the best match on G1 by far. It was maybe went a little bit longer than it probably should have, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't think it needed to go quite as long as it did either, but I cannot pretend to be entertained by Yoshihashi, and I'm watching this going, is it just horribly wrong that you have Juice Robinson, who probably has less experience overall than Yoshihashi does? He's been gone since, February. And just watching this match, Juice Robinson is clearly the better wrestler of the two. And that just shouldn't be, So it was perfectly fine. And I honestly didn't think Juice was going to get the win here. I wanted him to, but I was convinced that simply because Yoshihashi holds a title belt, that he was going to be getting the win. And since travel is what it is, David Finlay can't be over there. And of course, my first thought was, oh, so does Juice get to make a challenge for the trios titles? And it's going to be Finn Juice and whoever they want to get with them. Oh, wait, there is no Finn Juice in New Japan right now. David Finlay can't come.
It's like, yeah, it's not ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Man, David Finlay, you're no longer with us. Just for the interim. That's not just for right now. Just
he's in Ring of Honor's Pure Tournament, so he's doing stuff. But I don't know if you saw it, but when they announced the names for G1 and they announced Juice Robinson, David Finlay retweeted it with the a picture, the emoji for a cow and the poop emoji. So David Finlay was apparently not happy that Juice Robinson's in the G1, but he's not. So there's that. But David Finlay is lovely, and I'm sure he'll do quite well in the Ring of Honor Pure Tournament. And when he does come back, maybe Finn Juice can get a buddy and challenge for the trios titles. But yeah, I want to say one other thing about Juice Robinson that has nothing to do with the match. I don't think I have ever seen another human being that is the embodiment of happiness the way Juice Robinson was to make that entrance, to go to the ring, to see all the people clapping because they couldn't cheer for him. And then when the match was over and he's leaving, you could see that it was absolutely devastating to him not to be able to go up on the barricade and hug people and touch people and do all the interactions that he's known for doing. But that man is so genuinely happy to do what he is doing, and I love that. It's kind of infectious.
Juice Robinson, the happy warrior, Juice Robinson. Shout out to him, in his new gear. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it is. It is. He and Yoshihashi's going to have a bad match. Not a bad. I don't want to say have a bad match. That's kind of the shitting on him right there. But it's interesting. It was a very interesting match. So I'll just say that. So Jay, why don't you go ahead and talk about the next match we had come up for the G1 Climax?
Oh boy. Okay. So this was Toru Yano versus Sonata. And going in that Yano is going to do Yano things. But before the match even started, I was personally quite taken aback. And we're going to have a chat. Because this new look for Sonata, no, I hate it. And I think I've tweeted like 6 times today, no, I hate it. And I just do. I mean, that magnificent pirate look was perfect. Sonata, you are still my pirate crewmate, and we need to have a few words about your unfortunate sartorial choices, because this is not okay. Now, the hair is fine. The hair is fine. The black and silver color scheme is fine. I'm good with that. That mask and that coat look like a small child playing with tinfoil and making himself a spaceman outfit. I hate it.
Oh
hate it.
Jay,
okay, so I had to get that out there.
Jay Sonata went from pirate to he went from Pirate to the Caribbean to Blade Runner real quick. Like it is just like I was like, all right, what's this? What's this? I'm like, the first thing I said when I saw it, I was like, what's all this silver shit? I was just like, what? I was like, okay, Sonata, I mean, interesting look. And I think we've had many conversations before, and I think I've seen many Twitter threads about it, talking about, oh, what's your favorite look from Sonata? And we get people. I've heard various answers, varying answers of it, and I don't know if this one will be up there. Maybe it'll take some time to get used to it, but yeah, I'm not. I'm with you. I'm on your side with that. It's that boom foil and all that. Yeah, I'm cool, Sonata. Man, come on, man. We can do better. We can do better, Sonata.
So I'm gonna try to overlook that for the sake of commenting on the actual match, but know that I am not amused. So it starts out pretty much like one would expect, and I actually really enjoy the combination of Yano and Sonata, because Sonata is an excellent straight man for Yano's nonsense and shenanigans. And I mean, Sonata is low-key funny anyway. He knows how to play it. So when you have somebody just ridiculously over the top like Yano, they work really well together. And so it seemed like the whole first minute and a half of a match that was incredibly short, 6 minutes and like 16 seconds for the whole thing, about a minute and a half to 2 minutes of that was Yano getting checked by the referee and rolls of tape being taken away from him. So, like, Yano would have Sonata up against the ropes, and Sonata would yell for the referee. It's like, hey, he's got something. And the ref would, check Yano and pull out another roll of tape. And everybody's like, Yano. And he's like, what? So, yeah, it was just never ending. I think they took 5 rolls of tape away from Yano over the course of that. So, you have the usual stuff going on. Yano's taking turnbuckle pads. He's trying to hit Sonata with them. Sonata takes the turnbuckle pad away from him and tries to hit him. The moment where everything kind of fell apart. So Yano takes a chair and just leaves the ring. And he's talking nonstop, as Yano is wont to do. Yano takes this chair about halfway up the entrance ramp, sets it down, and he just sits on it like, nope, I'm not going to do it. No. And Sonata's in the ring like, are you kidding me? And the ref starts counting. And Yano sits there and sits there and sits there some more. And at about 19.75, Yano manages to roll back into the ring after running faster than I have ever seen Yano run before. They go back and forth a little bit. Sonata takes Yano out of the ring. You can see Sonata's face basically like, I'm done with this. I have a cunning plan. And so Sonata drags Yano out of the ring to the bottom of the ramp, puts him in the Paradise Lock, puts his foot on him. He's giving the thumbs up to Milano. Everything's good. At this point, I expected Sonata to just stroll back into the ring and win by countout, doing something that a lot of us have said over and over again he should do. Just put Yano in the Paradise Lock outside of the ring and then just leave him there. Then Uyemura happened. I don't know why. Uyemura goes over to Yano and rolls him over. Takes him out of the Paradise Lock. Sonata's right there. He turns around. Sonata's like, what the fuck did you just do? he puts Uyemura in the Paradise Lock. Or at least he mostly puts Uyemura in the Paradise Lock because Yano takes that particular moment to grab yet another roll of tape and to tape Sonata and Uyemura together. The referee had already started the 20 count. Yano runs back to the ring and rolls into it. Sonata grabs onto Uyemura and tries to do the three-legged race thing to get back in the ring. Sonata gets counted out, and Yano gets the win. 6 minutes and 16 seconds of, oh my God. I mean, I can't even be mad. You cannot be mad about this. I say that knowing full well that some people are. Some of the complaining that I have seen on social media is quite disturbing. But yeah, I think I even tweeted later, like, man, I'm not even mad. I can't be mad at this. You know that Yano has to get some wins. Even though I still have Sonata picked to make the finals, nobody goes with a perfect score anymore. Not since Devitt. And if Sonata had to take a loss, I would rather it be this than something more legitimate. Right. So, yeah, it's probably taken me twice as long to talk about this match than the match itself actually was.
It wasn't even a match. It was like more like a segment. And I'm totally fine with that because, you need some stuff to kind of break up the monotony of, strict, serious pro wrestling. So I'm sure there'll be some upset of how the finish made Sonata look, which you and I both agreed this is probably better than him taking a finisher and in a pinfall in the center of the ring. It's probably better than that if you really think about it. But given how, he's I guess used to normally resisting Yano's I can see how people can be upset about that. But it's G1, it's a different setting, it's a different Yano. Hell, Yano had a t-shirt on, it had a QR code on the back of it that was probably going to his YouTube channel. So it's like it's a different situation right here. You know what I mean? So this is what it is. This wasn't a match, it was a segment. I thoroughly enjoyed this segment right here. Sonata was absolutely pissed. I loved it. He was just like, what the it was almost the visual look of what the fuck when he looked at it. It was like, what? It's like, what are you doing here? Oh man, I enjoyed it. It was not that long ago. It was a nice little segment. The King of Pro Wrestling reigns as 2020 marches forward, and we march forward onto the G1 Climax. We got a next match coming up right here. So the next match we got some guys who have a little bit of history with each other. We have Hiroki Goto taking on Kenta right here. And Kenta returning. Shout out to Kenta coming back right here. Lil K back in the building. He has his right to challenge the briefcase for the United States Championship. So I don't know when the defense will be. Did they say when that is taking place, or it just hasn't been named yet?
Nothing has been specified yet. We just know it's going to happen.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if they had a date for it, but earlier
nothing
in the week,
that I've heard.
Yeah, earlier in the week, which I thought was a nice bit of foreshadowing right here. My man Kenta says, he's like, you know what, Goto, I'm not going to beat you with the go to sleep, man. I'm not going to do you like that. He said, "Homeboy, home team. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make you tap out and submit to the game over submission, much like I did when I won the GHC Heavyweight Championship match with Takeshi Morishima in 2013." And Jay, my man's calling a shot right here, and he was up the bat, and I would kind of say my man hit a home fucking run with this call out.
He did indeed. And, I have to say that I'm personally somewhat disappointed that Kenta no longer has his, fluffy Karen hair,
Oh,
because
I
that
agree.
was amazing. Yeah, he comes out, he's carrying the briefcase, and he's got, standard Kenta hair again. I think I actually said, "Aw," out loud, because, yeah, I thought he still had it. It's like, he looked like a Q-tip, but it was great because it's Kenta and he does not care. Um, but this match was just mean. I think I said that to somebody earlier today, that this match was just mean and hateful, and it is another one that could have gone either way at any point. And yeah, I felt really bad about this because it's not like I dislike Goto and I do want him to get wins, but this is his first match back, and I just felt like Kenta has to have this. All of the people who were gone really need to get wins here because we're redefining who those people are. So I was pulling for Kenta, but I felt kind of guilty about it. Um, just very hard hitting. It's a different style than Ishii versus Suzuki was, but it was every bit as brutal. I mean, Goto's dropping Kenta on his neck at every opportunity. And yeah, let's give credit where it's due. Goto came off like $1,000,000 here. Kenta won the match, yes. But it's not like it made Goto look bad. I mean, it was very, very even throughout, and Kenta had to try the game over more than once.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy task for Kenta to get it on him. He called his shot though, and to Kenta's credit, he got it done. So Bullet Club right now, we got. I mean, Yujiro, he lost the match, but damn it, Yujiro had a good showing. So to me, that's a victory in itself. So I'm gonna consider Yujiro winning that match. Fuck Osprey. He won that match to Yujiro Takahashi. Jay White won this match against Shingo Takagi, and we got Kenta winning this match right here. So am I? Well, look at Bullet Club's 3-0 in G1 Climax. So that's some pretty good way to start.
Mm-hmm. And as things progress, we'll see if Kenta continues to call his shots. Personally, I just can't wait for whatever his backstage comments turn out to be, because if he's going to start doing that, yeah, dickhead Kenta in the house is absolutely glorious. So I'm just waiting to see what is said there.
I said,
Speaking of
Dickhead
people
Kenta is
who are,
fire.
do what?
Said Dickhead Kenta is fire. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying? Like,
Oh, Dickhead Kenta is fire. And speaking of somebody else who is synonymous with the term dickhead, the next match is Zack Sabre Jr. versus Evil.
this is I thought this was going to be an interesting match too, because I believe coming into this match, the Evil has a 2-1 singles record over Zack Sabre Jr. So with Dick Togo by his side, you would think the likely outcome of him going 3-1, as going 3-1 on Zack Sabre Jr. as this match started. And boy oh boy, was that much different than what we got right here. We got a lot of shitty dick interactions. That's what I just called Togo, that little shitty dick interference right here, which it's crazy that there was so much interference by Dick Togo at one point. I'm like, man, is this a tag team match? Because they're legit doing tag team spots on Zack Sabre Jr. at one point.
They were, and I thought that was really funny considering that he's one half of the current heavyweight tag team champions, and Evil has quite the track record with that. I've honestly thought that Evil and Dick Togo would go for the tag team titles at some point the way they've been behaving, but I don't know if Dick Togo qualifies as a heavyweight. That seems to be kind of fuzzy. the utter disdain on Zack Sabre Jr.'s face as he walked to the ring, like everybody was just not only beneath him but smelled bad. I mean, just nobody does utter contempt without saying a word like Zack Sabre Jr. does. And at one point, he even called out Dick Togo. I think Togo had jumped up on the ring apron or something. You can hear Zack say, you know, I remember you, old man. And, you know, Zack was in Noah for a time. Dick Togo was in Noah for a time. You know,
Right.
they do know each other. So, yeah, I'm always curious to see where stuff like that is gonna go. So, it was basically 2-on-1 pretty much the entire time. Zack Sabre Jr. being a babyface in a match against Evil was so weird. I mean,
Yes, it
I
was.
know he has been in the past, but in New Japan, Zack Sabre is the resident dickhead and he revels in that. And the idea that he was still that guy, but even that guy is a babyface against Evil and Dick Togo, that was just incredibly strange.
Yeah, and it was weird to hear the commentary just saying ZSJ. That was so weird to hear that. Like I was like, oh my God, what is happening right now? It's they're like, hey, look, we want Evil to be the heel so bad. We're gonna have you guys cheer Zack Sabre Jr. And I thought that was hilarious. It's like normally seeing Zack getting cheers was pretty damn funny right here. And the interference, all of this stuff was literally Jay for not because out of all the people that are in Bullet Club right now, like I just said, by my account, Bullet Club is 3-0 in G1 Climax. Evil done went ahead and just fucked up the church's money and just went ahead and lost the match right here in this opening. God, he it wasn't even like he got snuck. He got a European clutch pinfall. It was he and Dick Togo were so apoplectic after the match. They're like, no, that was two, right? It's like, nah, Rich was like, no, that was totally three. That was totally a three count. And you almost know that Jay White's somewhere kind of snickering and laughing. And almost, I think, and going back to that too, because it kind of includes this, I think the promo that Jay White gave after his match with Shingo Takagi was not also was aimed at Will Ospreay. I think also was a little aimed at Evil as well. It was kind of like a little shade thrown at Evil. So I don't, I was like, ooh, okay, I think he's talking about Evil. I could be wrong, but that's what I took from it. And Jay White back there giggling because he wouldn't win his first match, but he has history with Zack Sabre Jr. and it really makes him look bad because he just needed all this help and just couldn't get the job done. But it's hilarious.
And I know there were several people who were wondering where Taichi was to help Zack Sabre Jr. out, but Zack said right before the G1 started in one of their backstage comment segments that they were going to be separated for the entire duration of G1. So the idea was that since Taichi's in Block A, Taichi is traveling to the next location while Zack is doing a show here. They're not in the same place at the same time, so Taichi couldn't have done anything anyway. Because it definitely comes off like they would have helped each other, but it's just not something that's going to happen because they're in different blocks. And Zack was smart enough to just immediately roll out of the ring and start walking to the back. So we'll see how that goes. This was a match that I had a lot of trouble calling because really both of them needed it. Evil because he's had high profile losses lately. Zack because he's been focusing on tag stuff and hasn't really been doing the singles stuff lately. So it kind of makes you curious where they're going with it. I am going to be very interested in seeing what happens. Jay won his match, Kenta won his match, Evil lost his. And I'm not mentioning Yujiro because while we are all fans of the Tokyo Pimp here, we know he's not even close to being the leader of Bullet Club. I mean, really, with Peter there, why would he be? So,
Yeah.
you've basically got the three guys who are supposed to be the top guy, or at least in contention for it. And Kenta at least tweeted out support when Evil turned and joined them. Jay was a little bit less so. So we'll see where this goes, but I really enjoyed it, as weird as it was to be thinking of Zack as a good guy. And they didn't have backstage comments posted as of this recording, but I've been waiting for them because Zack is going to go off in one way or another, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and I love that Zack still played the heel role too when he was leaving, because he's like talking to the crowd. He's like, I think he said something like, "I didn't need your support, dickheads," or something like that. Because I was like, yeah, Zack's still being a heel. He's not changing at all. It's like it was just for this situation. That's all it literally was. And speaking of special situations, special times, Jay, for our main event of this show, we have a match that when I thought about it, I was like, wow, this match hadn't taken place in a singles environment in 3 years, and stuff like that is literally why I love the company New Japan Pro Wrestling, because I hate to just shit on another company or whatever, but single matches matter here. Special singles matches or single matches for championships matter here. And when you finally do get a singles match, it's very important. It's not something that you would just throw away on a Monday, Tuesday, or even Wednesday night. It's not something that that's just for granted. These guys have not wrestled one-on-one in 3 years, and the landscape of pro wrestling, that's almost an eon, and that's huge. And the two men I'm talking about, of course, we have the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on double champ himself, the Shiyaku Stardust, Mr. Stardust, El Ingobernable, Tetsuya Naito right here. And Jay, the last time these guys faced off, were they in very different positions. Has the shoe, I guess, shifted. The climate has shifted a little bit as far as New Japan goes since Tanahashi and Naito faced off one-on-one.
Indeed. And the last time that they really interacted, it was over the Intercontinental title, and it was part of Naito's battle to claw his way up the mountain. For people who have not been longtime viewers of New Japan, there were times where Naito was, hailed as, a follow-up to Tanahashi, that, Naito absolutely, worshipped Tanahashi, not the same way that Kota Ibushi did, but, when he was younger and starting out, Tanahashi was somebody very, very important to Naito, and obviously that changed over time when one becomes ungovernable. But I think the picture that would be in the mind of everybody who saw it, when we heard about this match, was when Naito defeated Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom, and he actually basically fist bumped Tanahashi's chest on the way out of the ring. It was his own way of showing respect, because prior to that he had not shown very much. But Naito had basically surpassed Tanahashi at that point, and they haven't really interacted since. So this was huge, and I think my biggest takeaway from this entire thing, because this was a true main event in every sense of the word. It went just over 27 minutes. It did not feel like that. We talk a lot about main event New Japan matches that go on too long and drag. This was not one of them. And all of the people who have said for the past several years that both Tanahashi and Naito are physically wrecked in shells of their former selves and they just can't go anymore, I really couldn't hear any of those people today, because their mouths were so full of the massive plate of crow they had to eat, because this match was freaking amazing. This is the match of the tournament so far, and I will hear no argument on it.
I'm going to agree with you 100% with that. Match of the fucking tournament so far. Tanahashi and Naito not turning the clock back as far as, these guys, physically, but they turn the clock back as far as their rivalry, because as I think about the people, the way that all the praise that was heaped upon maybe the Okada, the Omega rivalry, or something like that, or Ibushi, Omega, or whatever. And people always kind of, when it's like, oh, you're talking about Naito, Okada, like, well, they don't have as good as matches as, Okada has with Omega, or he might have with Ibushi. And I think that's one thing that needs to be said is people's chemistry will be different with other people. Like this is my honest opinion, especially in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tetsuya Naito's best opponent is easily Hiroshi Tanahashi. It's not even close. It's like this match just proved that right there. He and Okada do have good matches, and they have excellent chemistry as far as I'm concerned. But he and Tanahashi, there's a relationship there that was not the relationship with Naito and Okada. There's something there to where, even as you said, Tanahashi, Naito, he was very important to Naito. He grew, Naito damn near idolized Tanahashi, not in the way that Ibushi did, but different. And another connection between the guys is their favorite wrestler is the guy who actually trained Tanahashi but didn't get to train Tetsuya Naito, and that's one Kaiji Muto. And that guy's name was uttered multiple times in this match. And he's going to be always one that will link these two together forever because Naito's favorite wrestler, Tanahashi's favorite wrestler, he trained Tanahashi. Tanahashi took the belt off of him in the Tokyo Dome. So he's always going to be intricately linked to these guys. And you can even see shades of Kaiji Muto's character, Great Muta, in almost Naito's El Ingobernable character. If you just look at certain things he would do with masks and all that stuff, you could see little intricacies that he took from Muto when he was doing that. And I thought that was actually a nice little homage with him. Like I said, I think Tanahashi's Naito's best opponent. He and Ibushi are really, I think Ibushi might be close. He's probably a close second. I would actually probably say he's not New Japan anymore, but I would actually give the I would actually give the Omega Naito matches. I actually rank those higher than the matches that he has with Okada. That's just my personal opinion. But he and Okada have great chemistry, and I just think people need to take that into account, that people have different chemistry with other people, and they shouldn't expect that it should be the same way with another wrestler. But that being said, this is fucking incredible. This had callbacks to everything these guys did. Tanahashi when he did the Tranquilo spot, Tanahashi, he was like, oh, you're going to lay there? I'm going to go for a rolling senton then. And Naito just rolls out the way and hits another Tranquilo spot. Just tell him to get out the ring. Yeah. I thought that was an excellent touch right here. Tanahashi being merciless on his knees. It's old Tanahashi. He was working on the man's knees right here. Both these guys came in. This was top level, top money stuff right here. They delivered. Matched the fucking tournament right here. And this is the first time I get to say this going into the G1. I know this is probably not going to happen, but I'm just waiting for when this tournament is all said and done, and the double champ will be the triple champ, but he walks out as the G1 champion. So,
yeah. This was an incredible wrestling match. This is the kind of stuff that you watch wrestling for, and it really was not a given that Naito was going to win this. It went so back and forth, and as you said, Tanahashi was absolutely merciless going after Naito's knees, and so Naito won the match, but at what cost? I mean, this is the first night of B Block. Tanahashi has done his damage. So, as if they weren't bad to start with, Tanahashi has basically ruined Naito for the rest of the tournament, and that may be his ultimate victory there. But just everything they did just built on what came before it, and you're openly gasping at certain moments, and this is a match that I am most certainly going to be telling people about. I know I'm going to watch it again and again. This is a match to come back to, and every G1 match isn't like that, but oh good God, this was a fabulous wrestling match in every conceivable sense.
And I'm looking at the next card, and I'm not even looking at no prediction things. I'm just like, we just got some bangers on the way. But as far as these two gentlemen, what they have on their docket as far as their next G1 matches, Hiroshi Tanahashi actually has a little bit of lighter schedule than when Tetsuya Naito does, because guess what, Jay? It's not about to get no easier for Naito's knees coming up next. So I was going to go ahead and tell, oh boy, Tanahashi will be taking on one Toru Yano, and it's going to be a little bit of an easier affair. It won't be as intense or as physical as this match was. So, but he's still going to have to use his mind. He's still going to have to use his mind. And Tetsuya Naito, double champ, is facing a familiar foe, one who will definitely attack any ligament, joint, whatever he can. You love him, we all love him, Zack Sabre Jr. So
Uh,
it's not getting any easier for Naito's knees at all.
oh
Dear
no,
Lord.
it is not. And if you heard Naito's backstage comments, the the shade that he threw at Tanahashi was absolutely epic. And we have referred to Naito as the king of shade several times on our shows, and it's not just what he says, it's the way he does it. He's so casual about it, and he just throws it out there, and it takes you a minute to realize how sharp the comments actually were. And he goes on to say that um, you know, this was the biggest match for all of Tanahashi's G1, but for me it was just another match because that's where I am now. And he closed out with saying, I really don't have time to talk about Tanahashi because my next match is against Zack Sabre Jr., and I hate that guy. I hate him more than anyone. I gotta go.
Oh my
And
God.
you're just like, okay. So, there's that. But again, I really need to stress that there were several points in this match where you genuinely thought Tanahashi's gonna beat the double champion. And it really came down right to the end on that. And if you don't watch anything else, even if you're not a huge fan of either one of these guys, I don't know how that's possible, but if you're not, make an exception and watch this match because oh my god.
Yeah, it was fucking incredible. It was super incredible. Yeah, and that's so true what Naito said about Tanahashi. They're so at different points of their career right now. And I just think that is pretty much what happens when you go into the tournament as the champ. You're going to be the guy that everyone's gunning for as opposed to gunning for the guy. Everybody's gunning for you. Like he said, this was a huge, and you're going to be everybody's biggest match. And like he said, it's going to be just another match for you. That's so true.
It's so true, but just something about the flippant way that he said it came off as just a little bit more spiteful than it probably needed to be.
That's
Yeah.
that's fair, Jay. I'm just looking back to when Kenny Omega was a champion, and he was kind of acting that way too. So Naito wants to act that way. Damn it, go ahead, bro. You the man. Do it.
Oh,
Do it.
it's totally the champion right, and I'm not criticizing it at all. But yeah, I guess to kind of close all of this up, I don't know if you feel quite the same, but for me, this G1 has actually been kind of weird because for the first time ever, I am just completely chill and not stressed at all about what happens to Naito in the G1. Yeah, I don't expect him to win it. I know he's going to take some losses. It would be fabulous if he did. I would love him to, but I don't have that mindset of, oh my God, he's got to win it or, things aren't going to work.
No,
He's the champ. It's good. It's fine. And
I'm the same. No, go
this
ahead. I'm
is
sorry.
not a feeling that Naito fans are used to. We don't ever get this feeling.
Jay, that's what I was gonna say because like I'm totally 100% with you. I actually tweeted it out the other day. It was I think I said, hey, I would pick who I think is going to win the G1, but since Naito's double champ, I don't care. And I provided the gift when he won the titles back at Jingo Stadium where the fireworks are just going off. I was like, yeah, I don't care. It's like it's like who wins is who wins. But I was like, Naito's double champ right now. Just let me enjoy my ice cream and chill out. Like yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. But oh man, guys, I think we had a good time talking about these two shows right here. Night three doesn't take place until Wednesday, and the shows are actually coupled. Let me look at them. Looking at the schedule right now, they're actually coupled Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, and Tuesday. So the way I figured the way we'll probably do this is we'll probably hit y'all guys with two shows at a time. If they like lump them together, we can maybe do 2-3 shows at a time. But the way I figured the way the schedule's looking, two shows at a time seems to be the choice. I feel.
Yeah, and that's fair because then we can cover both blocks. Everybody can get both blocks in one place on one show, and it'll just work out better than trying to do each show individually anyway. So that sounds like a plan.
All right, and as I look before we get out of here, and before we tell everybody subscribe, all that good shit, follow us and everything that we do. Power Struggle is happening apparently, and I was not aware of that, and it will be actually taking place on Saturday, November 7th. So Power Struggle is still a go, guys. So yeah,
Hmm.
we are we are SOS Wrestling Network. Like I said before, all of our platforms, like, share, subscribe, all the great stuff. Just subscribe. I don't know if you can like on anyone. I used to say that shit, but whatever. And you know who it is. It's your boy Blunt Unido, Stardust Shiaku, the Pro Wrestling Fly God, my illustrious tag team partner, the book junk yourself, the intellectual juggernaut, Almighty J. We are the Almighty SOS Wrestling Network. Like I said, hey man, we just the train that's on the move. Either you get on or you just get out, get gone. So we're done. We're done with night one and night two. Night three, we are waiting on you, my friend, and we will have that coverage here for y'all. Night three and night four. So until then, y'all, always, you know what to do. You know what to do with this G1 Climax. Tranquilo.